will be shipped. Thank you.
Can I say one thing?
Yes.
I am a witness of watching him sign. It might have happened in commercial breaks one or two times.
How about that? All y'all see me do it. Exactly.
One or two times.
What a nightmare. 20,000 copies.
I cannot wait to read it because you actually open up. So I know I'm going to learn quite a bit about you.
Yeah.
Can I make a deal with you?
What's the release date?
January 17th.
I'll make a deal with you.
Yes.
I'll buy 100 if you personalize mine, and then we'll give them out to people that need to read.
I'll do it.
Just say something nice about them so I can lie to my kids and say I was great once.
I'll do it for you. You got a deal.
Appreciate it.
I'll do it.
On wax.
My damn right arm's gonna fall off. I'll do it.
New meaning to tennis elbow, right?
I love it. I love it. A great Christmas gift, though, for people to check out. And much more serious news, guys. I want to get into this Jerry Jones story. So after the Cowboys beat the Giants yesterday, Cowboys owner Jerry Jones answered more questions about a story published by the Washington Post earlier this week. So the Post published a story with a photo that showed a 14-year-old Jones peering over a crowd of white students as 6 black teenagers walked up the steps of North Little Rock High School in Arkansas as the school was integrated in 1957. Jones said he was there out of curiosity, not animosity. Here's more from him.
That was 65 years ago, and I had no idea when I walked up there what we were doing, and it just is a reminder to me of how to improve and do things the right way.
Okay. A little context here. The Cowboys are one of 7 teams not to have had a black head coach and have had 2 black coordinators since Jones has owned the team, but their highest football executive vice president of player personnel, Will McClay, is black. Jones has complied with the Rooney Rule, in which teams have to interview minority candidates. Jones said his decisions are made for business reasons, not race. Stephen A., your reaction to all of this?
I'm pretty pissed off. And let me say this. I'm pissed off, but not for reasons that people would think. I'm very, very fond of Jerry Jones, and I'm not hiding that from anybody. Is his record perfect? No. But I'm pissed off because he doesn't deserve what just happened. He doesn't deserve it. One report, our report, said he was 14 years old.
Yeah.
Another report said he was 15 years old. At minimum, that's 65 years ago. You're going to bring up a picture of Jerry Jones standing at this protest. No question what was happening is not something that anybody as a black person should be appreciative about. We had 6 students at that particular North Little Rock High School that was trying to desegregate the school.
No one should be okay with it.
Nobody should be okay with that.
Regardless of
race. We understand that. We get all of that. We also understand what we as black people and as black folks, black men, have to deal with. And by the way, to some degree, we still deal with a lot of things, and we all know it. Racism is alive and well. Bigotry and prejudice is alive and well. We get all of that. What I'm saying is, here's the part that bothers me. You want to get on Jerry Jones and his track record, fine. In 2003 or so, you know what? You should have hired, Dennis Green shouldn't have got an interview on the phone. It should have been an in-person interview.
Right.
You should have followed the letter of the rule or the law as it pertained to the Rooney Rule. He wanted Bill Parcells, universally recognized one of the greatest football coaches we've ever seen. It was clear he wanted Bill Parcells. Nobody else was going to have a chance of getting that job. That's what he wants to do. You want to malign him for that? Fine. You want to point out that he's one of 7 black NFL owners that's never hired an African-American as a head coach? Fine. Do all of that. Attack him for that. Go ahead. Yeah. No problem. I see a plethora of African-Americans employed by him. I see black players who've played for him who rave about this man and what he's done for them on a personal level. But if you want to go by his hiring record when it comes to head coaches, no problem. Can't go the executive route because we know it's him. You know what I'm saying? He want to be the president, the GM, the owner. He want to do everything. And then he's got his children that he leans on as well. So he can't go the executive route. But you want to get on him about the head coaches, fine. But you're going to bring up a photo of him when he was 14, 15 years old. 65 or 66 years ago. This is where cancer culture gets into the mix, and you're making an attempt to eradicate him what he stands for and all he has done. I will remind you, we've had Senator Robert Byrd, who passed away a few years ago, that was a member of the KKK. We've had other politicians, whose record, who didn't want the segregate, who didn't want desegregation.
Right.
The George Wallaces of the world, the Bull Connors of the world, and others, okay? We've seen all of this. We've had elected officials on Capitol Hill that are implementing and legislating policy that affects our lives. But we're going to go to Jerry Jones. And by the way, I don't have a problem with the photo. I don't have a problem. If he was 30, 35, 40 years old, that's different.
Right.
14, 15 years old. 14, 15 years old.
Right.
So now some folks are going to get to look at Jerry Jones, and who's from Arkansas. It's the South. We understand what the South represented. You understand what I'm saying? Remember, when slavery ended with the Emancipation Proclamation, you talk about 1863 and what have you. What did Dr. Martin Luther King talk about? Well, you didn't give black folks nothing. You ridded slavery from them, but you gave them no land. But you gave white peasants from Europe land in the West and the Midwest, okay? So we understand from an historical perspective where it all comes from, what the South represented at least once upon a time, and in some people's eyes still to this day. But we're gonna lean on somebody when he was 14, born and raised in the South, and we're gonna pick it up 66 years later to say, you know something?
Yeah.
You ain't hire a black coach. I think that's pretty low. I really, really do. I think that part is pretty low. If he were an adult, that would be different. But a 14, 15-year-old kid raised in the South who literally is just standing there looking, and we use that to bring up in the year 2022. Oh, this is where you were. You got to explain this. You ready to explain what you did when you were 14?
Yeah.
How about you?
Right.
I can't. I don't know if I want to, especially how the world will perceive it today.
Yeah.
Just doesn't feel right. I don't know. It just
is there something about it named Kirk Cousins? Because I think that this is what we do to Kirk Cousins. And I mean, we're always like, oh, well, he can't win the big one, or he can't win in prime time. I mean, I guess Thanksgiving Day is like sort of prime time-ish. He did dominate the Patriots yesterday.
No. I believe. I don't think he could win a big one. What's the likely probability that he's going to win the big one, Amber? I guess that's the question. Like, what would you say the probability is?
I would have it pretty low. I have a hard time buying into this team, too. And I've always had a hard time kind of getting rid of that Kirk Cousins narrative in my mind that people do to him. By the way, 30 of 37 yesterday, 299 yards passing, 3 touchdowns yesterday, 1 interception, a good day from Cousins. I just feel like this Patriots team, though, like I'm not about this Patriots team. I know people talk about this defense for the Patriots being pretty good. I don't want to take anything away from what the Vikings did yesterday, but I can't get over what they did the week before against the Dallas Cowboys. And yes, the Vikings are sitting at 9-2. I know the record is the record key, but it feels like the record is going to get them into the postseason, and then they're going to fall flat.
Well, you can look at a lot of we can look at a lot of teams that way, right, Amber? We can look at the Miami Dolphins the same way. Are they a legitimate contender in the AFC, or are they just a team that wins one game and they get bounced in the playoffs because it looks like that they're going to fight for that division along with the Buffalo Bills? So you can look at them the same way you look at Baltimore. Can Baltimore really make some noise? It looks like they're going to probably win their division, but the first thing we say is what has been hunting them the entire time, the lack of success in the passing game. Look, the New England Patriots, they do have a decent defense and a solid secondary, unlike most people thought coming into the year, because when they lost Jackson to the Chargers, people just assumed the secondary was going to fold apart. He did carve them up to a degree. Oh, see how I did that? Carved them up, Turkey Day, the whole deal. I didn't mean to do it that way, but I did it. And so, I don't believe that they're a Super Bowl team at all. I think they're a playoff team. That's what I believe.
You see, Amber, this is what happens. Like these, we joke around that sometimes Max is really slick, and he gets in these little sayings throughout like a long diatribe that sometimes you forget because maybe he said it at the beginning of the saying.
Leave Max alone.
No. I'm bringing it always back because that's what Key just did there, Amber. I don't know. See, this is what I deal with, Amber. Did you sense it? Did you hear
the low-key shot at the Dolphins? Is that what you're referring to?
Why? Why are we saying that the Dolphins are the same as the Vikings? Like, the Dolphins give off way different vibes than the Vikings. We just came off a conversation, Key, about Kirk Cousins being the guy
What do you
that
have,
you're really
stock
not
in the
trusting.
Dolphins or
And
something,
I'm
Jay?
sitting
I
here
just-
saying Tua is second in the MVP race
I
right
gave
now.
an example of the Dolphins,
No, it's a
the
slight.
Baltimore Ravens.
No,
like, what?
it's a slight. You do it all the time.
In fairness to Key, no, listen, and I'm out here to defend my Dolphins all day, every day. But in
cannot.
fairness to Key,
I'm just gonna not
the Vikings.
mention anything that has to do with Dolphins ever again.
Well, that's probably good. Tuanon will
you're
appreciate that.
doing us a
But
service, please.
In fairness to Key, the one thing I'll say, the Dolphins in a much tougher division than the Vikings are, in large part thanks, of course, to Green Bay. It does feel like the path to the postseason here for Minnesota is going to be a much easier one. I still have a hard time believing in them in terms of a postseason. In Dolphins land over here, we're trying to win a playoff game for the first time in decades, right? With this Vikings team, I do think when you look at that record, though, people are thinking, hey, they're Super Bowl contenders. But either way, the Vikings yesterday were in the zone against the Patriots. Get in the Zone is brought to you by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Coming up next, there are 6 huge games this weekend. We're going to dive into them. That is after Key has this word from Dr. Pepper.
Jay sending that narrative out
No,
there.
see, Amber got
you
the
are
break
a Dolphins
real quick.
hater.
Amber got the break real
Continues to
quick,
roll
though.
along. College football season, Dr. Pepper and the residents of Fanville invite you to revel in a